That's all I can have dinner on these nights where
Yeah.
we got these early.
Oh, I know, I was gonna email you today, and then I just got sidetracked. Friday at like 8:30 works.
Okay, Friday, 8:30 it is.
Ready? Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 3rd Budget Workshop for 2019. Two exits behind you, one behind us, to our left, your right. If you could please silence your phones and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, just for the record, Councilman Cologne was still feeling a little ill, wasn't sure he was going to be here, and Councilman McGinn is stuck in traffic coming home from work. So Councilwoman Bingham, Councilman Scancarello, and myself are present, along with our Town Clerk, Mary Ellen Beams, and to my left is Helen Knickerbocker, who has been very instrumental in helping with this budget, along with Roberta McBride, who was not able to be here this evening. She will be here on the 22nd. A couple of things. From the start, the rate sheet, which is up on your screen, there are a couple of formula errors that are incorrect. I'd just like to make note of that. If you go down, almost down to the bottom where it says refuse district, if you look over to your right, the change over 2018, those formulas are incorrect. It's actually an estimated rise until we get a number back from the county regarding the tipping fees. And
which columns are you talking about there? The change, the amount and the percent?
change over 2018, the amount and the percent. And then this number just came in this afternoon, so this is why this is a preliminary budget. And Mary Ellen, I'll let you read the number. If you go down under taxes not controlled by the town board, the fire district, what was that number that they came in at now?
$1,737,718 is their preliminary budget as of to date.
Okay, so it's the same.
Same.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, no, we,
It changed, Mary Ellen.
oh, it changed. I don't have the,
Do you have the number?
I don't.
Could you repeat that number?
It's the same number that's in there that she just said, 1,737,718.
oh, last year's was 1,717,000, and I forget what the change.
718.
718, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
1717,
Okay, so-
718.
Yep,
Right.
there it is. Thank you, Sal.
Okay. So, okay, so just a couple of points. Our intentions tonight are to go through revenues and then give the town board approximately 2 weeks to go through the meat of the budget. So just a couple of items on the rate sheet. The important number relating to the loss of Palm Tree is the taxable value. That taxable value dropped approximately $146 million, which represents about 27% in the taxable value that we're able to get our taxes from, our tax levy. So, I'm sorry, not our tax levy. That's the taxable value of land that we have in the town. So with the fact that the appropriation dropped about 8%, and the revenues dropped about $556,000, which represented about a 13% drop. Thus, the reason in the column all the way to the right, where you you see 2018 tax year, first column, top right. That's the reason for the almost 31% increase in taxes.
Can you just tell us which account number that is you're talking about?
No, I'm not gonna go back and forth here, okay?
Tony, it's not, it's not an.
It's not an account number.
It's,
Oh,
it's,
okay.
it's the A fund
Yeah.
in total.
Okay.
If you have questions at the end of our workshop,
Gotcha.
be happy to, allow you to come up and ask them. So, with that said, the county numbers are important to us. That's what we're really looking to wait on. And that has to do with, obviously, the tipping fees for refuse, the sales tax, some mortgage tax estimation, and there are some other numbers with the state. We tentatively have a meeting set up with the state, the county, ourselves regarding the numbers that will come in after the effect of palm tree. So with that said, does anybody have any questions there? Mary or Sal?
Not yet.
No? Okay. All right, so, Mariana, if you could move to page 1, which is the revenue page. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. All right, so we'll go down line by line here. And Helen, just interject whenever you feel necessary. So the appropriated fund balance is, we've appropriated $200,000 from our unassigned fund balances to help offset the increases. Property taxes, we're looking to bring in 3.237 million and change. If you get down to interest and penalties on real property, $38,000 is what we're projecting. Utility gross receipts tax, we're estimating about $500 towards the end of the year. Town clerk fees, the reason that 8,500, which was adopted last year, and this year we're only adopting 500, is that 8,500 was shifted into another line here, and that line is about 12 lines down, which is 1603, correct, Mary Ellen?
Let me see, where we're at 1603.
1603 is marriage licenses.
That's marriage licenses. Basically, what it is the town clerk fees, the money's given in, but then it's broken out. Some of the money goes into impound fees that I collect, so
The
it
neuter.
goes to the marriage license thing, so when we sat and talked, you, me, and Helen, I kinda didn't understand why that was reading 8,500, because town clerk fees would be Xerox copies. That's the only thing that I can kinda see that would be going to that line. Every other fee that I collect has an assigned line, like marriage license fees, Easy Pass, they all have their lines. So,
Okay. Good. So then, that fee last year of $8,500 was probably misappropriated in that line?
yeah, I
Misestimated?
don't understand what that was, to be honest with you. I don't know what represented, the 152 that went in, I can tell you was Xerox copy fees,
Okay,
miscellaneous fees, so.
all right. So then we go down to tax collectors' fees.
Yeah, tax collector fees, which you do have money coming to you, we charge $25 a tax bill if a bank does not request them. A lot of the banks for escrow request a CD from the county, they get them. Sometimes every now and then, I can get a request from a bank for, 100 bills or something like that. I charge them $25 a thing. So the average You know, you're looking at, it depends. It depends on if they go on our website, because the tax bills now are on the website and have been, if they're gonna go to it. So I feel very safe that you're looking at 1,500, that you'll pull in around that type of fees. Depends on the year. You could pull in 3,000 in a year. Depends on the bank. Depends on the bank.
Okay. Then we drop down to the Easy Pass tags. That's basically an in and out line. Whatever we sell,
I think
whenever.
we make $3 on an
Yeah.
Easy Pass, so.
Yep. Okay, so that's at 1,800. Getting back to the animal control impound and fines, that's slated for 1,500. The neuter and spay fees, we're going down to 750. Animal control contributions, which are donations, is at 250. Animal control local dog fees, that's a line we're not using anymore where it says do not. That's why you don't see the remainder of the line. Vaccines is at 200. Miscellaneous fees is zeroed out. Control adoption, we don't adopt out, so that's zeroed out. Marriage license fees, we set that at 2,000, and that was based on our loss in palm tree licenses. They'll most likely be doing their own, and they represented about 70 to 75% of that, correct?
Correct. Marriage license is $40, the state gets $22.50, and after looking at a history of marriage licenses, I'm very comfortable that, that's what the fees will be, because Mr. Zagadin will now be a town clerk and will have the power to issue marriage licenses.
Okay, public work services, I know we zeroed that out. I mean, do you have any, those are town clerk fees, Mary Ellen?
The only thing I can think that could be is, maybe road openings.
That's
the-
what I believe it is.
Yeah,
Mary
the
Ellen,
money that
is
the $250
Yes.
that I collect for, road openings. And
Okay.
you know, we could go a whole year, 2 years without a road opening.
Okay. Next up is dial-a-bus operations. We're estimating a small increase there to 30,300. We have the pedal boats, which the tentative is 17,000, which is approximately in the area of what we took in this year. Alex Smith concessions, that's basically a soda machine that's there, and water, that's all we sold. And I believe there's more money that's coming into that from 18. The reason that next line is highlighted is it's a new line. That's the flagship theater revenue that we're anticipating, approximately $30,000, which will mean that flagship will be coming in at around 1.3 million in gross sales. TMAC ticket sales obviously zeroed out, as is the other credit card sales. The intergovernmental home and community service we kept that at 500, and that is a representation of, hold on one sec.
That was actually clean sweep
That was a
donations.
clean sweep donation that we received from M&T Bank. Joint activity for the buses, that's actually an IMA that we have with Woodbury. That's at 5,400. Interest and earnings, we estimate 400. Rental of real property is zeroed out, as is the next 3 TMAC accounts. Games of chance, we haven't done anything there in a couple of years. Dog licenses, we're estimating 300. Mary Ellen is scheduled to do enumeration for the year 2019. So we're hoping that actually, comes in above $3,000. You want to explain that, Mary
We're
Ellen?
hoping that we see a significant jump because, doing a little history of dog licensing, we've significantly dropped. So we'll be doing the enumeration by mail. It'll be a mail, not door to door. And for every dog license that we receive during that enumeration, the town is allowed to charge the homeowner an additional $5. So, we foresee bringing in a lot of, new dog licenses because for the size of our town, I do believe that we are significantly low on licenses. So I would say we're probably gonna double what we have right now, if not triple what we have. It'll go in the newspaper, and we'll do a big campaign, and hopefully, we'll get a lot of these dogs licensed.
Okay. Permits and other, we zeroed that out. You had $500 that came in this year? I'm not,
Is that Helen, is that in my budget, in my lines, peddler's permits? Would that be the peddler's permits? I believe it would be.
You know, it could be,
I
the only
believe-
description I have is January and February of 2018, town clerk fees,
Mm-hmm.
so.
So that would
if
be, the peddler's permits.
Okay.
That would be them.
so do you want to adjust that somewhat?
I'd like to adjust it.
Yeah, Mike, you want-
I'll be asking the board to adjust our fees too, so,
Okay.
I'd like to adjust that. Why don't we safely put in 800?
Okay.
Because that will be your film permit, which I'm gonna look to raise that also. Filming permit, we've had some inquiries about some filming coming to Monroe, to the town. That's your peddler's permit, that's your blasting permit, which we haven't done a blasting permit in years, but, I will be approaching the board to raise them.
Okay. Next line is fines and forfeited bail. That all has to do with the court. And I'll let Helen give a little explanation of what goes on there. We believe that number should be a little higher, but can you explain
Yes.
why?
So, when the court actually gives us checks of the revenue that they take in, it comes in as one check and it's deposited in what we call a clearing account. And what happens is they send a report, the court does, directly to the state, and the state will notify us what amount or what portion of that check belongs to them. So once they give us their invoice, we pay that to the state and the remainder belongs to the town of Monroe. So what we are supposed to be doing is transferring that remaining balance from that clearing account into this revenue. But it's not showing in here because it hasn't been, we haven't been doing it on an ongoing basis, but it will be transferred in.
Okay. So it's in an account, it's just not
It's in
transferred.
an account, it's just not transferred, showing in the revenue line.
Okay. Okay. Sale of equipment, zeroed out. There hasn't been any activity in that in a number of years. Insurance recoveries, that's basically any reimbursements, damages that we had. Like this year, we had a damage to the pump house, which represented about 5,800 or 900 that came in. So that line is estimated at 5. Refunds of prior year's expenditures, estimating that at about 5,000 again, as we did last year. And then if we go down to employee health insurance contributions, that's the portion of the health insurance that employees pay, which is 15%.
Well, actually, that's actually the portion from the retirees,
Okay.
so.
Miscellaneous revenue, 2,000. State revenue sharing. That is from the STOA, basically the STOA contract for Dial-A-Bus. So we're keeping that flatlined. Mortgage tax, we actually lowered it by approximately 10% to be on the safe side and be conservative there. The other lines are zeroed out. State aid from Dial-A-Bus, $132,000. We do have some money that over the last week or two has been found that was not correctly filed. So there's approximately 100 and change plus that'll be coming back to us. If we get down to senior center event revenue, that's the Young at Heart, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That's $3,500. They expect a little rise in that due to the amount of seniors that have been registering for the center. Senior center donations, that's at $1,175. Federal aid from Dial-A-Bus, that's the matching program that comes back from the government. So it brings us to a total of $4,728,928.17, which equates in comparison to last year, approximately a 14% drop in revenue. So essentially, that's where we're at there.
So, Tony, can I just make one suggestion?
Sure.
Back on A 1710, the Public Works Services.
Yep.
So if that's for road openings, and we've taken in 750 this year so far, we have nothing budgeted for next year, I would put a little something in there, because there's always somebody that needs to have a road cut.
Okay. You feel safe with 1,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other suggestions?
I have a question.
Sure.
This room, rental of this room,
Mhm.
the income from that, where are we reflecting that as a revenue?
If you go down to senior center, miscellaneous revenue,
Okay. So
We should add some money in there as well.
yeah,
yeah, we need to add some in there because we've been averaging at least two rentals a month right now.
$50 a month.
so $50, so you
Yeah.
want to put $600 in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The only other area I would like to possibly increase is line 2410, which is the rental of real property. We're obviously currently entering into agreement with the Journey Church. So I would say, to be conservative, at $2,300 a month, so let's go $4,600 there. We passed a resolution this past Monday that would allow them to use the facility once we take over for $2,300 a month on Sundays, and they're looking at 4 to 6 months. So I think if we put 4,600 in there, we'd be safe. Okay. And the only other aspect, and I think we have to talk to our accountant, is the inflow and outflow of our grants
Yeah.
that we're scheduled to receive.
Right.
We are expecting $250,000 from the state. We're expecting about $25,000 from the county and CDBG grants, which have been approved for the senior center. That includes the HVAC units and the front doors, which will be automatic. And then we're also up for, well, that would be in this year. We're up for up to a $5,000 grant from the tourism, which is an art grant, which we were officially not approved yet, but that's going to be up to 5,000. And I will tell you that credit goes to Mary because she brought that to our attention, and my secretary Jennifer and Mary
Give a
worked on
lot
it.
of credit to Jennifer. She really worked on it diligently,
Yeah.
and
And we had a
it's
short time
very
frame.
short timeline, yeah.
So it was actually hand-delivered to the county and the tourism office.
Supervisor Cardone, where are we placing the revenues from the Mombacia Park event? The vendor trucks
That is
and
in,
anything that,
well, we got to get to the,
that's not in any revenue lines?
no, there was a revenue line with that.
And also, are we getting any money from renting of the fields or any of the pavilion? I know Anne Marie hadn't
Yeah.
worked on that. I
That
don't
was-
know if there was.
A, 2088.
Oh,
I think it was 17,000, right?
That's not even on
That's
here.
not even
Yeah.
on here.
yeah.
Okay? There's a little, correction. Can you make the microphone louder? They can't hear there because of the air conditioning. Can you make the speakers louder? Yeah, that's good. Okay, thank you, George.
You said there was line 2088.
Yeah, that's actually missing out of this, page.
So right now in there, there's 4,000 plus we have to add in the, plus we have to add in the, I'll speak a little closer to the mic. We have to add in the Mombacia Park and the O&R Park. Yeah, just up it a little bit so it doesn't get crazy. Maybe up into the 70 numbers,
So-
to 70 degrees, George?
Actually, Tony, so now let me take a look. So the 2088 is actually, those were the security deposits. Now, were the security deposits, as I recall, were they returned or a portion
Yes.
of them returned?
Yeah, most of them were returned, with
so-
the exception of Ski Delights. We kept a portion of Ski Delights.
Okay, so that is actually then the security deposit, the A 2089, which is also missing, and I don't understand why, off of our revenue list here. That's the recreation user fees. And actually, we put in there from anything for Faber Farm, Mombacia, Food Truck Festival, any other recreation fees. We're
Okay.
all going into this.
All right, so let's do 2,500 in that, and then 4,000, I guess, in the security deposit,
Yeah. Okay.
which is essentially is going to be a wash.
That's gonna be, right, that will be
that'll
cleared
washed.
out. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got that, 4,000,
Yes.
2,500. Okay. Thanks for that pickup, Mary.
Could you
Okay.
repeat the total add-on for that revenue that you just came up with?
Excuse me?
When we're done, I will entertain your question.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Wow.
What happened? What did he do? What did he do?
I'll tell you what he did.
What did he do? Mr. Goldstein,
What,
I would appreciate if you'd refrain from that type of behavior.
what behavior?
What you just said.
Oh, okay.
There's
There's no need for that.
no need at all for that. That's
If you-
very
if-
upsetting,
If you
seriously.
don't, if you don't like the procedure, then leave. This is how we're conducting things now.
Knock yourself out.
You've been an antagonistic person
Unbelievable.
from January. And I'll I'll let you know, I do reserve the right to not let you speak tonight. And I'll determine that when I'm done. Okay, so if we go up to the B fund revenue, nobody has any more questions regarding that?
Page 12.
Yep,
We're going to page 12?
yes,
Yes.
page 12. Okay. Real property taxes are estimated at 590,000 almost. Non-property tax distribution by the county, hold on a second, that's at 315,000.
Sales tax.
That's sales tax
And mortgage tax.
and mortgage. The special franchise fee, $154,000. And where is, that's the.
That's the franchise fee.
The Optimum TV fee?
Yes,
right?
because so far this year,
We've got 75,
yes,
479.
right,
Okay.
which didn't come in actually until September, so that's why it doesn't show on the year-to-date, because the
Okay.
year-to-date's only until 8/15.
Okay. And you got safety inspection fees. It's 160,000, that's from the building department. Zoning board fees, 4,000. Planning board fees, 5,000. Interest and earnings, approximately 600. We scroll down to the refund of prior year's expenditures. There were only 2 refunds. So we're estimating at about 2,000. Employees' contributions, that goes
Yeah.
back to the retired employees.
Yes, it does.
Okay, $1,100, for a grand total out of the B fund of 1.231 million, roughly. Any questions? Just give me a second here. Okay. Any other questions? No?
No.
Now we go to the DB fund.
DA first. DA.
Yeah, my mistake. It's page 15. So we start with real property taxes. We're at 494, 577. County snow removal, that's the contract for the county roads during the winter. That's a set rate at 27,696. And just so you know, I know Mr. Rogers is here. He had asked a question a few months back when he was on the board, and it goes up about $200 to $300 a year. Interest and earnings is at 100. Employee contributions, $3,238.55, which is the same as last year. Mortgage tax, we're keeping it the same until we get some idea from the county. That's $250,000. And the DA revenues represent about $775,612. I don't foresee much, you know, adjustments there, maybe with the exception of mortgage tax as we get closer. Okay, now we go on to DB, the revenues for the DB fund. The appropriated fund balance, we allocated $75,000. Real property taxes, $305,772 approximately. Non-property tax distribution by county. Sales and mortgage, which is 1.25 million. Interest and earnings, 100. Why did we zero out that prior year expenditures? So we had two of them?
Yeah, it looks like there were 2 items. I would have to check that tomorrow to see exactly what that represents.
Okay,
So we're talking, that's the $981?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Employees' contributions, $4,533.97. Consolidated highway aid, it's the CHIPS program. That's $106,000.
Supervisor Cardone,
Mhm.
is there any chance that might go up once we get those few
There-
roads dedicated?
Yeah,
We have the records back, and I've been pulling, there isn't many we have to dedicate, because going back, I found some deeds of dedication back, so there isn't many. I said to John I'd have it to him by the end of next week, the roads that we need to dedicate.
okay, thank you. So for total in a DB fund of 1.741 million, and another $405 there. So that's everything associated with our revenues this year. Anybody have any questions?
Maybe a question for Mary Ellen. Our fee schedule hasn't been updated since 2012.
Correct.
Can you think of any fees on there that your department or in any other department that the board might look into as raising for next year or in the future to increase some additional revenue?
Yeah, there is some fees that we can, I'll send you an email tomorrow and give you my recommendations.
Okay, good, thank you.
The only other, you know, additional revenues are obviously the drainage districts, fire protection, and initially, I didn't understand why this was done in our accounting on our books, but, you know, when Helen and I and Roberta went over this, there was a revenue for the street lighting. I don't know where that was generated from. Remember we spoke about that? Because it was just a payout.
Yeah.
Were there any lighting districts on the tax bills?
Yes, the lighting district is on the tax bill for anyone that's in the town of Monroe. In the outside the villages.
Outside the villages, okay. And that you notice that we did drop to 47,200 from 82,200, and that was obviously through the efforts of Jimmy Rogers and his diligence in working with O&R and getting this to a point where we could manage our streetlights. It also also is a bit disheartening that we actually cannot just call, and I don't know if I explained this to you yet, Jimmy. We actually cannot call O&R and send them that list. We actually have to go into their portal and manually enter every single light that we want turned off. So,
Somebody with technology.
yeah, Jen's gonna take care of it. I guess Marianne, she spoke to you about
Yes.
accessibility to it?
Yep, I'll give
Right.
her the portal password.
Yeah, so, there's definitely frustration there. And then it's a matter of when they turn them off. So,
Just to remind you, I called again today for the 6th time. No response
Unbelievable.
from Teresa Johnson. So, you know, where does that put the town? You know, we gotta stay friendly because we eventually have to buy lights, buy the lights from them.
yeah,
So I don't want them to go, oh, you're a wise guy.
right, I got you.
Through the ceiling,
Right.
right? But
Yep.
there's so many that Mary Ellen sent a list May 31st, and I know of one that is fixed. The rest, you know, they haven't come back and said, we fixed them, or what, they're still out from
Yeah.
May. So it's up to the town to make sure that they're deducted, those, at least 13 of them are deducted from the list.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Mary and I will be meeting on Friday to go over the water districts and the expenditures and revenues there. So this is all preliminary here, obviously, tentative. And it's really about all I have, you know, tonight. You two gentlemen like to speak?
I would like.
Come on up.
On the first page, the fund balances that you're going to appropriate to reduce the tax levy, the 200,000 on the aid townwide fund and the 75,000 on the highway fund, how do you come up with those amounts? Is there some type of formula that does that?
No, I was just trying to keep it within and below last year's amount, which represents around the same percentage.
Okay, now, the next question is, I know you voted that if we may exceed the tax cap. Are there any penalties that are assessed against the town for exceeding the tax cap?
No.
None? Thank you.
Good evening.
And let me just rephrase that. No, as in the past, but the state might change that. I haven't heard that they will. Hello, Mr.
Yeah,
Burke.
you have my sympathy. This quite complicated, quite a bit moving parts to it. One thing I wanted to ask you about is the A0003005, the mortgage tax. Now, we have that as for 2018 at 550,000, and then for 2019 down to 500,000. Now, we're losing, I think, 1/3 of our property, and where most of the building goes on is in that area. So I think you might take a closer look at the mortgage tax. I think it might come in lower. As a matter of fact, RBT CPA did a study for the town, and they had the mortgage tax going in 2016 from $299,442 down to $133,842. So I don't know how to line those numbers, and the line they used was A3005. So I don't know how to line up those expectations with what's here, you know. So we'll see. This is a good process. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll see what's going on there. One thing I want to say about the marriage licenses, thousands of dollars being spent by KJ couples, Satmar couples who get married in public, legal marriages. Again and again, I've interrupted people and told them, No, there's no scam going on where they don't get married and so they can collect welfare. They only get married religiously and not legally. They get married legally, the evidence is right before us, we see it every year. And I can't tell you how many times I've told people that myth is unreal. Right? Yeah, the appropriated fund balance it's dipping into what has accumulated over 20, 30 years. And I don't think it's a wise financial practice. I think taking about 5 or 6% from fund balance. So last year down 250, 60,000. This year it'll be 275. At 4 years that'll be a little over $1 million. Fund balance is drying up. Yeah, I think you should make a better effort not to dip into it. I think it's patching up a budget that should be fixed in other ways. And the real property taxes, I can't line them up. So we're up on A000101, and here I see adopted for 2018 $3,402,000, and then for 2019 $3,237,000. But we're losing what, 1/3 of the assessed properties. So I'm surprised it isn't lower. And the accountant, RBT CPA LLP, estimated that it would be $917,000 lower that we would be losing, would be decreased. So I can't line those up. So, and then on Dial-A-Bus, we're going to lose a good number. Maybe half of the riders on Dial-A-Bus are women from KJ and that area that don't drive the car. So we're going to be losing half our riders unless the IMA is in place. And so it'd be very important to have the IMA done before November the 8th. Otherwise, this number might have to be changed. Right? And well, that's it. I'll be back on the next meeting. We'll see what else we can work. Oh, let me give you a challenge. I looked at the budget for this year, and I saw that up to the end of August, the theaters were ahead by $45,000, right? And if you project that to the end of the year, that might be $65,000, $70,000. And it was reported, I won't choose anybody, that we were losing $400,000 a year on the theaters. So if you could, by next meeting, point out where that $400,000 number came from, right? Because it's not in the budget. It's not in the budget. And there's no other money besides what's in the budget.
I will tell you this, Mr. Burke.
Yes.
That's in the past.
Yes.
I'm moving forward.
Yeah.
I will not accept your challenge.
Okay. All right,
All right.
good. So you agree with me that there's no loss of $400,000 this year?
No, I don't agree with
Okay.
you, Mr. Burke.
Well, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
Water districts. I see the big fluctuation, could you explain what's a special assessment under revenue for different water districts? We got District 10, that's up 9,000. We have 12 minus 27,000, Hopeless up 75,000. What is that? The
Well,
special assessment?
I can tell you this. Mary and I have yet to meet on this, and Helen and I are still trying to figure out some of the accounting practices from the past, but I will say that is most likely a special assessment because of an improvement, a special assessment because of a repair that might have been done that wasn't anticipated,
Lost water.
lost water. So,
I can see Hopeless because they did a big improvement way back, and they're probably still paying it off. I can understand that. Post Road, It's up 9,000, okay. But District 12, you had $45,000 last year, you only put 18, it's a $27,000 difference. I would, my point is, and the whole thing is, it's a water benefit district. And even when I was on the board, the town always supplemented districts, and it's not right. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but at least last year you had 45,000, now you got 18,000. If anything, keep it the same and let some of these districts pay back the general fund. I know you're trying to keep the budget down low, but at what point is the district, whoever owes money from the districts from the past, how are they gonna reimburse the general fund?
I'll defer to Mary. I know there's a bond out there that's,
Right. Well, there's 20,000 in line SW 12-813-10 4999-00. There's $20,000 right there, so it's called gap closure. So I'll have to talk to accounting and find out exactly what was in that in 2018, why it's not in 2019, and there definitely is a bond. You know, you sat in on those meetings. We got to get that going. So I agree with you. The numbers are a little low, but we got to work out the details, and it has to deal with the bond probably, but I'm not saying 100%
page
sure.
24, Mary Ellen.
The only thing is, you know, all, there's outstanding money in all the districts. Whoever received the money in different districts, for whatever reason, that should be clarified and make some kind of attempt to get it back into the general fund. Many years ago, happened in Blooming Grove. They went after them and they had to reimburse the general fund. I don't wanna see the town get in a pickle with the state auditors. But at some point, you know, it's a benefit district. I don't, you know, if a district really falls in disrepair and whatnot, and you're gonna get grants and all that, but I asked earlier that the grants are not gonna cover any of the other money that is owed back to the general fund.
You know, we had to talk to bond counsel on that. We haven't gotten an answer back from them, whether it is or it is not allowed. So there is a possibility, but we're still waiting an answer from bond counsel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe
Maybe,
some of the grant could be used to pay back, okay,
right.
okay.
Yeah, I have
So essentially what, I just want to clarify what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you're saying that since the town might have laid out money for a district,
Yep.
okay, and right now that district might have a negative fund balance, right?
Yep.
You're asking for a special assessment to that district to repay that money back to the town?
Yes.
Okay.
But
I just want to clarify, yeah.
That's why I brought, you know, I just saw that District 12 is down $27,000. If it was stayed at 45, you could say, all right, you know, that could be pushed towards reimbursing whatever each district owes. Other districts the same way, you know. I just want to be fair, because it's not fair to the general town taxpayer to be subsidizing a benefit district.
Oh, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Thank you.
Along those lines too, there are certain areas of the town that have curbing in front of their homes. You don't have curbing in front of your home, do you?
Herb?
Curb.
No.
Neither do I.
No.
Entire town pays for the people who have their curbs. So should we form some kind of special district for those areas that have sidewalks? You don't have sidewalks. I don't have sidewalks. Is that a possibility of something the town should look into as well?
No, because I don't get, right now, it's a water benefit district.
But the people benefiting with the curbs, their property value just increased because now they have curbs in front of their house.
I don't write the laws. All I know
That's
is
what
I'm
I'm saying.
not in
I'm
the sewer
asking
district,
you,
I'm not
should-
in the water district, and I'm offended that I have to pay. Why should I pay for a sewer district? I have a septic system. So why would I pay to anybody in a water district? whether it's Topless, whether it's Post Road, your district, I get no benefit whatsoever from it. And yet, you're redoing everything, $1.5 million or whatever. I don't get any benefit. Nobody gets a benefit except the 41 people in your district.
And we will
That's why
pay,
it's called a benefit district.
and we will pay a bond off on that. But going back to
yeah.
my question, I don't have curbs, you don't have curbs. There are other sections of the town, they have curbs, it increases their property value. So they're getting a benefit that you and I are both paying for, correct?
I
Yes,
don't see
yes
your
or no?
Analogy there, but whatever.
Are they getting a benefit by having curbs in front of their house? I say yes, because it increased their property values.
Well, I'm glad you remind me of that, because I hope the town, at some point, adopts what the village did and makes people responsible for the sidewalks in front of their house. The village is smart, because they turn around, if you had a sidewalk, you have to be, you're not gonna throw an inch of salt on there because you're responsible for it. The town, all Horizon Heights, every place we have a sidewalk, the town is responsible.
And that brought me to the
Why?
question to you. You and
All
I
they
are
have to
paying
do
for
is
that. We don't
change
have
that
sidewalks.
The homeowner is responsible for it. The village is smarter. We never did. We never adopted a law to protect the town, because when you start putting sidewalks in after 20, 25 years, we did at the trooper barracks and it cost us a fortune. So, it's something to look at. We're just adopting a rule where the homeowner is responsible, then they don't destroy it, so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, as far as the next meeting on the 22nd, if everybody could just, review the expenditures. Mary and I will go over the water districts. But if we could review the expenditures, add your comments, and then we can basically, move forward. I would assume next meeting will be considerably longer, although it is before a town board meeting. So,
Okay, you have a 7:15 public hearing that
hearing.
night on the tax cap.
yeah, so if there are any major concerns that you have, please let me know, email me. What I'll do is I'll get you out some highlights that basically analyze certain set spots in the budget that are, when I say eye-opening, it could be, positive or negative. One example is the rise in dial-a-bus total budget. It's basically due in a major part to a $43,000 purchase of buses. We have 6 new buses that are coming in. 5 are priced at $7,000, and another one is priced at $8,000. That's because of the fact it's a larger bus. So that's why that budget is going up that much. So, anybody has any other questions or
On the
recommendations?
dial-a-bus, no, on the dial-a-bus. We haven't been picking up, I believe, residents from Kiristol for a little while already. Is that true?
No, we're picking up residents from Karish Joel, but what we're not doing is we're not picking them up in Karish Joel and then transporting them to another location in Karish Joel, because they have their own county-run
That's
operation there.
yes. Okay, I misunderstood. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Councilman McGinn, anything?
My apologies.
I know you got stuck in traffic, I know.
Well, traffic work, just a whole bunch of things colluded to keep me away from being here on time. My apologies.
No problem.
Next meeting is at 6, right?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
October 22nd. And if we feel the need to add another one prior to November 8th, we'll do that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will send out to the board the deadline date. There is a date with the budget that you have to have the elected official salaries to me by, so they can be published in the paper. And that has to be done prior to the public hearing, and I believe I have to have it in the paper. I believe it's 5 days prior, So I'm really gonna need like 8 days prior. I'll get the exact dates to, the board so they know.
Okay. So with that said, I mean, it's a workshop. I say we adjourn, and look forward to October 22nd. Okay? All right, thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate it.